A very good morning to one and all. This is Samantakamani Kuchuvatla, Associate Professor, Department of AAAS Engineering College. Today I would like to give a presentation on types of DC generators, EMF equation, losses and power stages. In the earlier class, we discussed about the construction of DC generators and what are the different materials used for the each and every part and the principle of operation of DC generator. And today we are going to discuss about the types of DC generators, how the classification is done. In this, the DC generators are classified based on the type of excitation used for that particular generator. So we should know what do you mean by excitation. So excitation is nothing but giving supply to the field winding. As we know that the generator has two important components, like one is a field winding and the second one is armature. So how the field winding is excited or given supply is known as excitation. So in this, broadly the DC generators are classified into two. One is separately excited generator and the second one is self-excited generator. Then what is the difference between these two? We have to understand. Here in this field winding is being given separately excited by a separate source in the separately excited generators. But coming to the self-excited generators, the voltage generated by itself will be used for the excitation of the winding. So again there is a classification for the self-excited generators. They are shunt wound generators, series wound generator and compound wound generator. In turn in the compound wound generator there are two generators which is known as long shunt compound generator and short shunt compound generator based on the way in which these shunt windings are connected to the compound generators. This can be still explained with the help of this diagram. So, if we observe DC generators, as I mentioned you classification separately and self-excited, we can observe very clearly the shunt field, the field winding which is being excited by the separate voltage source here DC connected through a variable resistance, and here there is a provision to connect a load here for the generator. This is separately excited generator. Coming to the self-excited generator, it will have different connections like series wound generator, shunt wound generator and again compound. In the compound, both series and shunt field windings will be there. First we will discuss about the series wound generator. In the series wound generator, the field winding is connected in series to the armature as shown here. And coming to the shunt field winding, shunt itself means connected in parallel or across. The meaning is connected across. So the field winding is connected across the armature as shown in the diagram. Now there is one more difference between the windings of series and as well as shunt field windings. If we observe in the diagram, we can observe this series field winding is made with a thick wire, means having large cross section and one or two turns will be there. But coming to the shunt field winding, it is made with a thin wire, means having very less cross sectional area and having more number of turns. So this is a series field winding and shunt field winding, and how these are connected to the generators. They are classified into series wound generator and shunt wound generator. And coming to the compound wound generators, both series field winding and shunt field winding both were there in both the compound generators. That you can observe here. Then what is the difference? Here the difference is how the shunt field winding is connected to the armature is the main difference. So first we will discuss about the long shunt generator. In the long shunt generator, you consider the shunt field winding, it is directly connected across the combination of armature and the series field winding. That can be clearly observed here. Right. Coming to the short shunt compound generators, if we observe, the shunt field winding is just connected across the armature, not across the series field winding. So this makes a difference. Now this is the classification of DC generators. Next we'll move on to the representation of a circuit representation of a separately excited generator that we have already observed in the previous slide. Here there is the separately excitation given by the supply, DC supply, and this is called the field winding. And if you want to measure the field current, we are going to use an ammeter here, and for the variable current we can use a variable resistance here. And this is the armature, and where armature is connected to the load here. So what we need to observe here, so the terminology connected to this one current that is flowing is generated from this generator is directly connected to the load here. So if we would like to tell the current relation, whatever may be the armature current, the same current will flow through the load current. So IA is equal to IL, where I suffix L is called the load current, and field current is separately given by the separately excited source, right? So we'll move on to the next one, which is a circuit representation of the shunt and series generators. First, I'll discuss about the shunt field winding. I would like to introduce the terminology related with the shunt field generator, shunt generator. So here, I mentioned the names here. I suffix sh means shunt field current. This is the shunt field, and the current that is coming out from the generator is called IA, suffix A, and this is armature current. And for the load I mentioned here, I simply, or it can also be treated as I suffix L, which is called the load current. Now, how these are connected here, we need to observe. So, for the armature, across this one, a shunt field winding is connected. Similarly, across a load is connected. Now, the voltage across all these three will be one and the same. But now we are going to discuss about the current relation of this shunt generator. In the shunt generator, the armature current is sum of the shunt field current and as well as the load current. So this is the current relation of the shunt generator. Now we'll move on to the series generator. In the series generator, the field winding is connected in series to the load. So, if you would like to discuss about the current relation of this series generator, the armature current is same as the series field current is same as the load current, because all three are connected in series. Now, we'll move on to the next one, circuit representation of shunt and as well as long shunt compound generators. So, I mentioned here the diagram of short shunt first, and earlier we have seen what is the difference between short shunt and long shunt. Now, in this compound generator, both the windings will be there, like shunt field winding and as well as series field winding here, but the only difference is how the field windings are connected across the armature. First, I'll start with the short shunt compound generator. In this, again I'll mention about the shunt field current is ISH, and the series field current and load current are one and the same, and this here it will be armature current. Now, the current relation is armature current is sum of shunt field current and the load current. And coming to the a long shunt compound generator. In the long shunt compound generator, the shunt field winding is connected across the combination of armature and series field winding. So now the terminology with the current is ISH is nothing but the shunt field current and I is nothing but the load current. But the current that is coming from the armature will also flow through the series field winding. So the armature current and series field winding current are one and the same, and it is a summation of shunt field current and load current. Now we want to discuss about the brush drop, how this will be there, because this brush drop is very important when we are calculating when we are doing the numerical problems. Alright, it is the voltage drop over the brush contact resistance when the current passes from the commutator segment to the brushes and finally to the external load. Its value depends upon the amount of current and the value of contact resistance. Right. This drop includes the brushes of both the polarities. In the numerical problems, until unless it is mentioned for individual brush drop, we need to consider for the given drop is for both the brushes. Right. So generally it will be 0.5 volts for metal graphite brushes, and it is will be 2 volt for carbon brushes. Now, one more important derivation we are going to derive now, that is generated EMF equation of a DC generator. In this, we are assuming that phi is a flux per pole in the Weber, and Z we are considering total number of armature conductors. And here we would like to tell you one point, total number of armature conductors are nothing but number of slots into number of conductors per slot. In this, the entire armature will consisting of number of slots. So how many conductors are kept in each slot? Based on that one, we can calculate total number of conductors in the armature. So these can be coming to the numerical problems. They may directly mention you the total number of conductors, or they will give you the data related to calculate the total number of conductors. So we are going to know this formula: a number of slots into number of conductors per slot, nothing but your total number of conductors. Now, where P is mentioned, or P is specified for number of generator poles, and A is assigned for number of parallel paths in the armature. Now, N is a revolution of the armature, which is calculated per minute. This can be represented as speed of the motor, nothing but revolutions per minute. And where we are going to calculate the E value, nothing but EMF induced in any parallel path in the armature. If we are could able to calculate EMF generated parallel path, that will be a direct calculation, because all parallel paths will have the same voltage. Now first we'll start with the generated EMF, EZ, represented as EZ, nothing but EMF generated in any other parallel path, can also be treated as E here. Now first of all we are going to calculate what is the average EMF generated per conductor, nothing but your d phi by dt volt. Here we are considering number of conductors is 1 in this equation, but finally we are going to deduce based on the number of conductors we have. So what is the flux cut per the conductor in one revolution? We are going to calculate. For one revolution, flux cut are d phi, represented with d phi, nothing but how many number of poles will be there in one revolution. So P is the total number of poles. So the flux cut per conductor will be, suppose if we consider one conductor, that conductor will cut the flux which is given by d phi, nothing but phi into P, because for one revolution there will be P poles, and this is represented with in Webers. Now coming to the number of revolutions per second. So here number of revolutions, n we consider it as revolutions per minute, but we are considering here it is per second. So n divided by 60. But we need what is dt? Dt is a time for revolution. Dt is time for revolution. So dt equal to the opposite of this one, that is 60 by n seconds. Now as per the Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction, we are going to calculate first EMF generated per conductor. So per conductor means here we are considering 1. So d phi by dt. But earlier we have calculated what is d phi. D phi is phi into P. So I mentioned here phi into P. And dt is, what is dt? 60 by n. So here we are substituting dt equal to 60 by n. So here n will be went to the here numerator, and in the denominator we have 60. So finally EMF generated per conductor is 5Pn by 60 volts. Then let me again tell you what is phi, flux per pole, what is P, number of poles, and what is N, revolutions per minute. So now again we are going to calculate, is this equation will be same for all types of wounded generators? No, it will be different for simplex wave wound generator and as well as simplex lap wound generator. Earlier we discussed about types of the armature winding. So in the armature winding we have lap winding and wave winding. So based on that one, this EMF equation again we are calculating based on the type of the wounding. Here the number of parallel paths will be 2 in case of wave wound. So A equal to 2. Now we are substituting this in the generated EMF equation. So number of conductors in one path will be Z by 2. What is Z? Z is the total number of conductors. So we are calculating the EMF generated per path we are calculating. So 5 Pn by 60 into per path we are calculating. So Z by 2. So the total equation is 5Zpn by 120 volts. So this is the EMF equation for a simplex wave wound DC generator. Next, we are going to derive the formula for a simplex lap wound DC generator. So here in lap wound, it's known to you the number of parallel paths is equal to P. So where P is the number of poles. So now we are calculating number of conductors in one path. Nothing but in Z by P. Z by P. Now we are going to calculate EMF generated per path. So here 5P n by 60 into z by p. So if we rearrange this one, this p and p get cancelled and we will get a 5zn by 60 ohms. So in general, we discussed about individually like what is the generated EMF equation for a DC generator for a simplex wave winding and simplex lap winding separately. But we are going to frame this as a generalized equation like that. Eg is equal to 5zn by 60 into p by a ohms. So here this a value will differ for simplex wave winding and simplex lap winding. So this a value is 2 for simplex wave and a equal to p for simplex lap winding. So this is your EMF equation for a DC generator. Now I would like to explain about numerical problems on these topics what we have discussed till now. Right. We are going to discuss about the first problem. Here, a 4-pole generator having wave-wound armature winding has 51 slots, each slot containing 20 conductors. What will be the voltage generated in the machine when driven at 1500 RPM, assuming the flux per pole to be 7 milliwebers? So, in this problem, they have given data such that there are now how many number of slots were there? 51 slots were there. How many number of conductors per slot? 20 conductors were there. So they didn't given directly the number of conductors in the problem. We need to calculate with the given data. And next they have mentioned about flux per pole. How much it is? 7 milliwebers. And they've also mentioned speed of the machine is 1500 RPM. Now what they are asking to calculate the generated voltage easy. So first of all, we are going to write down the generalized equation of the generated voltage. So E is equal to 5Zn by 60 into P by A ohms. So this is a EMF equation. Now I am writing here what is the flux per pole they have given 7 into 10 power minus 3 webers. They mentioned it is milli, so into 10 power minus 3. And total number of conductors, the formula is number of slots into conductors per slot. Number of slots, how many slots were there? 51 slots were there and 20 conductors per slot. So together it will give you 1020 conductors. Now they mentioned it is a wave wound. So A equal to P equal to 2. What is A? Number of parallel paths. P is the number of poles. So it's nothing but 2 in case of a wave wound because this is a wave wound. And now the speed mentioned is 1500 RPM. Now we are simply substituting in the equation which is given by E is equal to 5Zn by 60 into P by A. So I mentioned here 5 value, Z value, N value 1500 divided by 60 into P by A, both are one and the same. So it will be multiplied with 1. So by simplifying this one, we will get E is equal to 178.5 volts. Now, we'll move on to the second problem based on this concept. I will read out this problem. An 8-pole DC shunt generator with 778 wave connected armature conductors and running at 500 RPM supplies a load of 12.5 ohms resistance at a terminal voltage 250 volts. The armature resistance is 0.24 ohms and the field resistance is 250 ohms. Find the armature current, induced EMF and the flux per pole. Now, let me draw this circuit diagram first. So, the given problem is based on a shunt motor. So, I am drawing this circuit diagram concerned with the shunt motor, shunt generator. Here this generator having a shunt field winding of 250 ohms, and they mentioned about the load resistance is 12.5 ohms, and armature resistance also they mentioned 0.24 ohms. I am representing here the armature current symbol, direction, and similarly the shunt current and the load current here. So here load current is given by V by R as per the Ohm's law. How much voltage is there across a load? 250 volts, and the corresponding resistance is 12.5. So it will give you 20 amperes. And the shunt current is the resistance and the voltage. So here shunt current I equal to current shunt current ISH equal to V by RSH. V by RSH. So V is 250 volts and RSH is 250. So together it will give you 1 ampere. So the armature current is sum of your load current plus shunt field current. Together it will give you 21 amperes. So induced EMF we are going to calculate that is given by 250 plus that is nothing but load voltage plus voltage drop of armature, that is 21 amperes into corresponding resistance is 0.24. So together it will give you 255.04 volts. But we are going to calculate the flux per pole. So we know the equation is equal to phi Zn by 60 into P by A. So in this we know the easy value is 255.04. So by substituting all these and simplifying this equation, we will get phi equal to 9.83 milliwebers. Now we'll move on to the next problem. This is on separately excited generator. I'll read out the problem here. A separately excited generator when running at 1000 rpm supply 200 amperes at 125 volts. What will be the load current when the speed drops to 800 rpm? If IF is unchanged, means the field current is not changed, given that the armature resistance is 0.04 ohms and the brush drop is 2 volts. Now, as I mentioned earlier, first of all, we need to draw the circuit diagram for this one. So this is a separately excited generator. So the field winding is excited with a separate volts supply here, and this is a variable resistance, and the current flowing through this one they mentioned in the problem 200 amperes, and the voltage across the load is 125 volts given data. So first of all, we start with calculating the load resistance we are going to calculate because it was not given here. So first of all, we need to calculate the load resistance. So R equal to, this is a voltage by current flowing through that one. So what is the voltage? 125 volts divided by 200. So it will give you 0.625 ohms. So this is the load resistance value we calculated. Now, there are two conditions, condition 1 and condition 2. First of all, we are going to, when the machine is running at a particular RPM, it is, we are calling it as a condition 1. So we are going to calculate the EZ1. So EZ1 equal to the load voltage, also called as terminal voltage, plus current into armature current or load current are one and the same here. So the armature current into the resistance of the armature. If they in this problem they mentioned the brush drop, so we are adding brush drop also. So EZ1 equal to 1 corresponding to the condition 1 or the speed 1. So EZ1 equal to 125 plus 200 into 0.04 plus the brush drop 2 volts. So this together will give you 135 volts. So EZ1 is 135 volts and N1 is 1000 rpm. Now at 800 rpm we are going to calculate what is EZ2. So if EZ1 corresponds to speed N1, EZ2 corresponds to speed N2. Now we are going to calculate because both the speeds were given and EZ1 is also given. Now we are going to calculate EZ2. Means the voltage generated voltage corresponding to the speed 800 rpm. So this can be calculated like EZ2 equal to 135 into 800 by 1000. So we are going to calculate the voltage corresponding to 800 rpm. So 800 by 1000. So this will give you 108 volts. Now If I is a new load current, then terminal voltage V is given by V equal to 108 minus, what is 108? 108 is nothing but the generated voltage for the second condition, nothing but at a speed 800 rpm. So 108 minus 0.04 into I. We are assumed I is a corresponding new load current, nothing but same as a armature current, minus drop. So by simplifying this, we will get the current I equal to 159.4. So today I would like to stop this class at this point, and we will continue in the next class. Thank you.